There are lands you need to investigate. What are those lands? Some of the lands of Yaya Jammeh that were not submitted to government as part of his assets. They were not submitted by this ministry. We will task you to investigate. These are, let me read them out. Jammeh was believed to have owned 50 hectares of land in Jambur village. They were not brought to the subcommittee or technical committee that was working on the Jammeh asset. That sub-technical committee submitted to this cabinet subcommittee on Jammeh asset, and that cabinet subcommittee submitted that matter, that report to cabinet, and cabinet made recommendation, of which some of those lands were retained, some of the other lands were sold, and some of the other lands were kept for government usages in the future. These lands were not part of that. And the people, this government want to know what happened with those lands. What happened to them? The 50 hectares in Jambu, the Manduwar village size, 51 hectares in Manduwar, the Madiana Burfoot, 2 kilometers, about 332 by 645 meters wide, the Sanyang Santamba, 3 hectares, Sanyang village, 1.6 hectares, and Manduwar village, 51.5 hectares, and also Gunjur town, land opposite Gunjur Beach Hotel. We want to know, as a government, what happened to these lands. And we want this committee to help us, give us the information, their status, what happened, who did what. And indeed, the 66 hectares at Kasakunda, I know that the police are doing some investigation on it, but we are saying it should be part of what we want you to investigate and tell this ministry, this government, for us to take further direct measures on it.
So, as you would all know, this is going to be a very important assignment, and that's why the Honorable Minister took his time to look at people with expertise and people with strong background and with good past records to be able to assist the ministry to do this investigation thoroughly and then come out with a very comprehensive report to be able to guide the ministry with very effective recommendations which the ministry intends to implement to improve our governance of the land administration of the ministry, but also to improve the image of the Minister of Lands and also the confidence. So this is why you have been identified to serve in this various task force, so that we are able to come up with this very good assignment for the Ministry of Lands. The composition of the task force, apart from the individuals identified by the Honorable Minister, we also have the relevant ministries that have direct bearing and direct stakeholder ministries that are relevant to help to be able to support this investigation. So basically, this is why we are gathered here today. The way we are going to arrange this inauguration is I do the opening remarks, but then I'll call on my colleague PS to also make a statement, and then invite two of the task force members.
Chairman.
Yes, the chairpersons. We agreed for sake of gender representations to call Mr. Tal to make a statement, but also Madam Janaba Nyang also.
The chairman will make a statement.
Yes.
We'll invite Janaba to make a statement, but then the two chairmen, each of them will speak. And eventually then Janaba can make a statement.
No problem.
Because we feel that she's the only woman in the committee.
All right, okay.
It's not always an oversight, but looking for people to be able to serve, it wasn't an easy task.
Yes.
Am I right?
I agree, Honorable. Thank you for that. So we will basically go by that recommendations. So on that note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would now invite my colleague PS to make the statement before we call the two chairmen, and then Madam Janabanya also to do a statement. Then finally we'll cap it off with a statement from inaugural statement from the Honorable Minister.
Protocol-wise, the member will speak, and when he speaks, then Keba will speak, then Tal will speak.
No problem.
All right?
Okay. So, yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Good morning, distinguished members of the task force, esteemed colleagues, colleague permanent secretary, senior government officials, ladies and gentlemen of the press, all other protocols duly and respectfully observed. It is my honor to welcome you all to this important press conference on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Lands, Regional Government and Religious Affairs. Today, we gather to inaugurate two crucial task forces dedicated to investigating illegal encroachments within the Tambi wetlands of Cape Point and Joshua, as well as encroachments within the designated government layouts. The Ministry of Lands, Regional Government and Religious Affairs is steadfast in its commitment to implementing comprehensive reform programs aimed at enhancing transparency, efficiency, and sustainability in land management and governance. Our initiatives are designed to address long-standing issues, streamline processes, and ensure equitable access to land for all Gambians. Key areas of our reform program include modernizing land administration, enhancing legal and regulatory frameworks, promoting sustainable land use, strengthening institutional capacities, and increasing public administration. These reforms are essential for fostering a more transparent and accountable and inclusive land governance system. We aim to create a robust framework that supports sustainable development, promotes social justice, and ensures fair and equitable distribution of land resources for the benefit of all Gambians. Moving on to why we are here today, the Tambi wetlands are an invaluable ecological asset that supports a diverse range of flora and fauna and plays a crucial role in maintaining the environmental health of our country. Similarly, our designated government layouts are vital for orderly urban development and the sustainable use of our land resources. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, the formation of this task force is a proactive measure to address and resolve these pressing issues. Their mandate is to thoroughly investigate illegal activities and recommend appropriate actions to rectify the situations and prevent future occurrences. The media's role in this process is invaluable, and we are grateful for your presence and your commitment in keeping the public informed. Your support and vigilance help us uphold the principles of transparency and accountability. We have full confidence in the abilities and dedications of the members of the task forces to carry out their critical task with the highest standards of integrity and diligence. Therefore, on that note, I welcome you all today and thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes. Thank you, PS, for that wonderful statement and also outlining the expectation from the. Now we'll call Madam Jennifer Nyang, the Council member, to also make a statement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pierce. Honorable Minister, the permanent secretaries, 1 and 2, my fellow members of the task force, I must say we are humbled, Honorable Minister. We are really humbled for such a task, a national concern, and for us to be selected to embark on this big task is really an honor for all of us. I think I speak for all of us when I say that. PS1 has mentioned that this is an important exercise. And it is important because over the years we have seen a lot of conflicts related to land, not only in the Greater Banjul area, but I think beyond the Greater Banjul area. And things are getting worse and worse. We hear about these things every blessed day. So I think for the ministry itself, under the leadership of the Honorable Minister, to lead this, to embark on such an exercise, and for us to be elected is really an honor. I will assure you, Honorable Minister, Permanent Secretary, 1 and 2, that we will do our utmost. We will do the best we can, because this is really a big task that you have shown us. So we will do our best to ensure that we will support you. We will help you in any way we can so that things are properly put in their right place. I think I speak for all the members when I say this. Land is indeed important. I have said that before. We use it for various purposes, but over time it has become a problem. It has become a source of conflict, for so many communities. But we will help you, Honorable Minister. We will support you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so now, distinguished gentlemen and ladies, it is our honor to call Mr. Njai to also make a statement.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister, Honorable Minister, PS1, PS2, directors of the ministry, my colleagues in the task force, members of the press. On behalf of my colleagues in the task force, I have the honor to express sincere gratitude to you, the Honorable Minister, in bestowing confidence and responsibility on us to serve in the task forces to investigate land transactions in various government layouts in the Gambia. This formidable task force, or the team that you have appointed, has a fundamental job at hand, as the task before us is challenging. The problems associated with land administration in the Gambia are numerous, but inshallah, we will live up to the expectations. Honorable Minister, I think I have to take this opportunity to state that as a former director of lands, and efficient land administration, ownership, holdings, uses cannot be adequately achieved without a sound land policy that ensures effective implementation of the administration of our land resources. A proper implemented land policy is a pillar to achieving socio-economic growth and development. Honorable Minister, I humbly affirm that this task force will do its utmost to meet the goal and objectives of our terms of reference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Njai, for assurance and the advice in terms of having a policy in place to take out of the government. Now, I want to call on Mr. Baruch to also make a statement.
Honorable Minister, PS1, PS2, Deputy PSs, Directors, colleagues in the task force, members of the press. I'm honored to be a member of this team. We were in the waiting room, all of us, for the first time meeting one another. I said, Mr. Minister, I looked at the team, I said, wait a minute, it seems that I'm the oldest here. I'm going to take my responsibility. We don't know each other. Let's introduce ourselves. Rather than sitting here and looking at each other, we all introduce ourselves. So we started talking over there. It's an honor. And also to congratulate you for putting this task force. Land issue is not only Gambia, it's all over the world. In the Middle East, Hamas, etc., is about land. In Gambia in the 50s, was all talk over in the country was about land. Recently, we have seen what is happening in the Greater Banjul area. It's catastrophic. We have seen the Alkalolus giving double allocations. These are all. Triple. We have seen reserve lands, waterways, biodiversity-rich areas being allocated for residential area. One thing I'll congratulate, for the first time you're having a task force with environmentalists, because you cannot allocate land without looking into the environmental impact of where. I said that in certain areas, if you take Monkey Park, the monkeys who are living there, it's human beings who went there and made them in their habitat. That's why they are jumping over the streets. That's why we in the international scene, if you go to Kenya, we're saying that you move over where the lions are. So you have to share. So we have to look at how to make a win-win situation. That is a great thing. It's not going to be easy. Some areas have been developed already, but the law is the law. I will tell you, Mr. Chairman, in my leadership, I don't have any fear. We just follow the law. Land reform for governance, transparency, equitable, and that's the key word, equitable distribution of land, and sustainable development. I've been learned that sustainable development, the simplest definition is the three-legged stool. If you cut one leg, it will fall. One is environment, one is economic, one is social. They all go together. That's what we are going to do, and hopefully we'll be able to come with recommendations that will solve the problem that you want to solve. It's not an easy task, Mr. Chair, but Allah has shown us the way. In Surah Al-Bahara, the last ayah, 286 said, La yukallifu nafsan illa usaha laha ma kasabat wa alayha man kasabat. That is, any heavy task, Allah will make it light for you. And we pray to Allah that he will make it light for all of us. Thank you very much.
Yes, after me, will allow you to make the closing.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Tal. I think we are honored to receive those words of wisdom from you. And we are encouraged that the objectives that we set for ourselves, as far as this task force is concerned, we'll be able to fulfill them with ease. So now, it is my singular honor to call the Honorable Minister to make his inaugural statement. Honorable, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Madam Permanent Secretary and Mr. Permanent Secretary, Deputy Permanent Secretaries, Directors, senior government officials, members of the committees, task force, and of course, the media at large. It is an important moment for us as we, as a government, have always said that we will never be tired in trying to get things right. I think President Barrow, when he was assigning me this ministry, he said, I'm giving you one of your biggest tasks, but I know you've done it somewhere. Hopefully, I have no doubt you will get it done in other places. And that we need to really, you cannot run a ministry for 60 years, close 60 years. You never had a policy that would dictate and drive the strategies. We hope the first draft will come out in the month of April, into police. Even the buyer is charged. But when you steal land, you are not charged to court. Why? The same country, the same laws. Nobody have answered my question. I can steal your land, go and sell it. When I'm caught, I'm not charged for stealing. The buyer is not charged for buying stolen material. But when I steal your car, they would charge me for both crimes, both the buyer and the thief. Why the difference in the law? Why is it discriminatory? People are committing crimes on daily basis, selling what does not belong to them, and they go free. Agencies in the name of estate agencies rob an entire family, people. Preliminary report shows what is known, minimum $200 million have been defrauded from Gambians in the name of estate agency, and they are walking in the streets freely. How can we continue with that in a society? Can that continue? It cannot. Somewhere, somehow, we must say that, look, that has to be there. And that's why we believe that this task force will help us. And being in office, holding an office, does not give you ownership of people's land. Whether you are a minister, director, permanent secretary, official, whatever, you don't own the land. You are an officer employed to help manage the usage of that land. It does not give you automatic ownership. Who are you to be giving land without going through due process? Who are you? Because you are an employee of the ministry? You are like any other government employee. And then we've seen double allocation everywhere. The recent report we got on Salaji, is it Salaji layout? Yet to come public is a very bad reading. Terrible reading. Very bad reading. And these are who don't fear the law. That one thing I am wondering, why don't people fear the law in the Gambia? I fear the law, I fear policemen so much, people who enforce the law, judges and magistrates. Here some people here don't care whether there is a police arresting you, or whether there is a judge, or whether there is a magistrate, or going to prison. For them, they can commit crime when it comes to land, and they always get free out of it. This is the question that Gambians need to address. We have to go back to the drawing board and say, look, this is our small country. We need, and you know what? We are highly densely populated with a very small piece of land. Even where to do farming, most of us don't have now. And the most dangerous thing is, those who own this land, who travel to the diaspora, are coming back for their land when their parents have gone, coming back to mechanical farming. And that is putting more pressure on the issue of land. When they come, they claim their land. Say, this is my father's land, I want my father's land. And people, other people seem to be hanging on their lands. And this is another potential crisis that is emerging. People don't take land for a joke anymore in the Gambia. And that's why we need to really put the line straight to come out with issues that we can understand. We have chosen you because you are trusted, and we are entrusting you with this responsibility. Mr. Keba Njai, we all know, works in this ministry. I will tell you why I choose him to be chair for that committee. He was the one who implemented the Baji Commission. That's in here. He implemented the Baji Commission to the letter when he was serving in this ministry. This was 1995?
No.
What time was this, Keba?
It was in the 80s.
80s. The Baji Commission of the 80s. He implemented it to the letter. So he knows this field, he knows this ministry very well. He knows land administration in the Gambia very well. And that's why we got people of credibility to work with him. We want the facts. One day out, we put it before. Let the Gambian people decide. And I can tell you that this government will decide. We will not hesitate to implement your recommendations, to correct the wrongs and set a new pace for this country in managing our land and our land usage. For by Master, we know this man. He spent all his life in working for environment all over the world. He's been all over the world as an expert. We know he has a passion in protecting environment. Minister Jaju is one of the most respectable personalities in this field too. Although he served the Jammeh government, but even when we came to power, we saw the good thing he was doing. The minister was asked to get him as an advisor, to help him. And he wanted to go further, but fortunately he got an international job who had a special passion for this Tandiwek land area. So with all others we have in that committee too, we believe that they will do us a fantastic job. And that's why we believe that this task force, Gambians are looking forward to it. One thing I'm adding to this, there are lands you need to investigate. What are those lands? Some of the lands of Yaya Jammeh that were not submitted to government as part of his assets, they were not submitted by this ministry. We will task you to investigate. These are, let me read them out. Jammeh was believed to have owned 50 hectares of land in Jambur village. They were not brought to the subcommittee or technical committee that was working on the Jammeh asset. That sub-technical committee submitted to this cabinet subcommittee on Jammeh asset, and that cabinet subcommittee submitted that matter, that report to cabinet, and cabinet made recommendation, of which some of those lands were retained, some of the other lands were sold, and some of the other lands were kept for government usages in the future. These lands were not part of that. And the people, this government want to know what happened with those lands. What happened to them? The 50 hectares in Jambu, the Manduwar village size, 51 hectares in Manduwar, the Madiana Burfoot, 2 kilometers, about 332 by 645 meters wide, the Sanyang Santamba, 3 hectares, Sanyang village, 1.6 hectares, and Manduwar village, 51.5 hectares, and also Gunjur town, land opposite Gunjur Beach Hotel. We want to know, as a government, what happened to these lands. And we want this committee to help us, give us the information, their status, what happened, who did what. And indeed, the 66 hectares at Kasakunda, I know that the police are doing some investigation on it, but we are saying it should be part of what we want you to investigate and tell this ministry, this government, for us to take further direct measures on it. And I would get the permanent secretary to submit you the list, written list of these lands, so that we should be able to get a clear picture of what happened. The ministry is working. We are looking for any other lands that we are not submitted that belongs to ex-President Jammeh and that are supposed to, by the recommendation and the adoption of the Janneh Commission, we will make sure that this ministry will send these things to these committees if we discover any further lands. We'll inform you. Why were they not submitted? What happened to them? Who did what? Who gave what directives? The status of these lands? We want to know. It's important that we know. And the Gambian people need to know. So we are giving you this huge task because, as I said, you are trusted and we are entrusting you with this responsibility. I hope within 6 weeks, maximum 2 months, we should be able to receive a report that we can present for consideration, and subsequently then we'll see our further directives on this based on your recommendation. On that note, once again, on behalf of the President and the government of the Gambia, and on behalf of the permanent secretaries and members of the staff of this ministry, we thank you for accepting the task. There are few that could not make it today, but they will join you tomorrow because they had already prior engagement. But they have called to say that they will join you tomorrow. And the various chairmen will be submitted the list of, and I think it's important you read out the list of personnel in each of these committees for the benefit of the public and also the press. Give them the names of this, each of them name out the members of that committee for the good of, for the press. On that note, once again, I will let our friend Mr. Usman Jaju to give us the closing remarks, and then we'll invite you for 2-3 questions because it's cabinet day. I have to be in cabinet the next few minutes, but we'll give you 1 or 2 questions, not more than that. Thank you. Thank you. 3 minutes.
3 questions.
3 questions. 5 is too much. You are going too big.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Permanent Secretaries 1 and 2, the 2 chairmen of the task forces, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, of course the Deputy Permanent Secretaries, members of the task force, the press. I won't keep you long. I want to re-echo and reaffirm our commitment as my boss. He was my former minister, like my star said. This is a very important task, and our commitment would be reflected in the work that we are going to do, and hopefully the recommendations that we will put forward to you. Once again, thank you for this opportunity, and we want to assure you that we'll be up to the task very soon. Thank you.
Grateful. Bring the microphone and then bring it there and then announce the numbers of members.
So let's get the questions now. I'll do that announcement.
You have 3 questions.
So
and very short. No extra. Today I'll be different.
We will.
No impregnated question, but direct one. 3. Chairman?
Yes,
3 questions.
strictly 3 questions. So
but we have to meet the commission members in my office right now.
After the question.
We
yes.
go straight to the office.
Just a moment. If we give you the floor, you announce your name and the media house so that we know who is making the questions. So 3 questions. We start with the gentleman over there. Please identify yourself.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Omar Diallo from the Gambia Radio and Television Services. Honorable Minister, first we applaud you for the initiative. This is long overdue. First, we want to know whether the work of this task force will be limited within the KM and the West Coast region, because we know these land issues are not peculiar to, of course, the Greater Banjul and the West Coast. It is all over the country. Is their work limited to these 2 regions, or is it for the entire country? If you permit me, please, I want to know, those double or triple allocations of lands, what are you going to do about them after the recommendations? Are you going to retrieve the orders and leave those allocated with only one property? Because here the objective is actually for equitable land for all the Gambian people. And again, we've not seen the list, of course, but at least what we are able to gather, it seems lands are only allocated in the past, allocated to senior government officials and not ordinary Gambians. Is this narration going to change whilst you are Minister of Land?
Thank you for your question, and I think I'll give you a quick answer. Their mandate is already, TOR is already specified for them. Wherever there is a government layout throughout the country is what they will work on. First question. Second question. When I became minister, one thing I discovered, that yes, it's not correct that only senior government officials were given land. That is slightly not correct, just for your help. What I have discovered is ordinary people were given land. People who are struggling to pay rent, who are struggling to get the next meal. You know what they do? Next door they go and sell the land. Those who have money buy this land. 4 years, 5 years down the line, they go develop it, make millions out of it. And then build houses. So the poor comes back to rent more expensive house again and start struggling and struggling. When I looked at this, I felt there should be a solution to this. And this government, under the auspices and the direction and the leadership of President Adam Barrow, we are now initiating a program of what we call affordable housing scheme in the country. We want to build houses that are affordable for Gambians with a long-term mortgage of 25, 30 years. The rent you are paying will now go into the cost of your house. So you are not paying rent to a businessman or businesswoman who will be enriching himself, but you will be paying rent for your own house. And in doing that, there are too many other factors that we needed to act on. That is in the mortgage bank. 2 weeks ago, the Minister of Finance wrote to IMF for them to come and help set up a mortgage bank, because already there is somebody is working on a mortgage bank. That we have done already. IMF is very willing to come. The Gambia government is setting up a task. A technical committee and a directorate of housing will be, from the fiscal, will be moved to the ministry, and the ministry now will designate permanent secretary Sankare to head that unit. We are now working with other government agencies and permanent secretaries and directorate who will come as a technical committee. We have discussed with our international financiers. We hope we will see them in the Gambia very soon. And what we need now is to come out with a design, and also that design will now give us a cost of at least the 10,000 houses we want to start with. We want to start between 5,000 and 10,000 houses by December 2025. And that would certainly address the issue of partway the issue of housing. The UN Habitat talks about 90,000, but I believe now Gambia needs 200,000 houses for us to be comfortable. 200,000 is what we need. But that's why the issue of land management becomes very key. If we allow them to be abusing these lands like that, when that project commences, where will you put it? Where will it happen? And that's why this task force is important, so that we can do what we call land banking. So once you have land banking, when you have a project like this, you just go and tell them, they start work. But when you don't do land banking, when you have a project like this, you have nowhere to put them. And that's why we need to stand firm. As I said, this is not an issue of an individual. The Gambia government is set, but Gambia government can only achieve this collectively with everybody on board, so that the issue of housing is addressed once and for all. So we are working, and I think we'll get there. We are determined we'll raise the money. We have started discussions, and the discussions are so far very good. The signals are excellent. Everybody wants to be on board, including UN Habitat, everyone. We've met them, we've discussed with them, and the green light so far is really bright. And hopefully, by the time this task was finished, its recommendation will derive from there which area do we need to bank. I don't believe in giving people land, particularly those who cannot build it. You end up impoverishing them, enriching others for nothing. And I think I met some of my colleagues in a recent conference. Was it in Kigali? One of my friends told me, I've built so far 15,000. One of the others said, I built 120,000 at the end of May, and I need to build 200,000 houses. They even have a lot of system. They have what they call housing tax. You know, we're working with the World Bank to study how it happened in those countries. You know, in land transaction, now we can impose a tax to collect more money to build you more houses that you can go and feel comfortable. We discovered very sad things. You know, I interact a lot with people. I am so much with people I interact. There are people when they retire, they have nowhere to go in the army or the police. They cannot leave the barracks. You know why? They don't have somewhere to go. And that's a serious disaster. Somebody serve you for so many years, he retire, he has nowhere to go. That we need to address. We saw people who die, immediately after death, 2 weeks, they give them notice to leave the house because they cannot pay. We have to address this. This must be addressed. And the only way we can address this is by creating an affordable housing scheme. We cannot buy what these agencies are selling to us. Where will I get $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $5 million to buy a house? How long will you end up to pay? Even as a minister, you want to buy a house for $5 million, when will you end up paying that house? For the rest of your life. So we want to make sure that we get houses that can house the majority of Gambia. Yes, there are those top class among the elite, who 10% maybe, who can buy the expensive houses that people are selling. But the majority of Gambians cannot afford that. So we now have to devise a system how to help them address that is by building houses for people, using mostly local materials probably. In fact, particularly these red bricks, you go to countries like Cape Verde and other countries now, they're using local material, more solid than cement, and building comfortable, solid, durable houses. And less cost for them. Because if you want to use cement for everything, you end up being, putting yourself at a very high cost. So I think our engineers, our technicians, our experts, our environmentalists will look at how we can develop a new housing scheme that what we call affordable housing. That you and I and others can really be comfortable and then be sure that they have a house to live before at least they leave this world or before they retire. Any other question? The final one.
Next.
Final question. No question is over. We pray. We pray.
I want to give the details of the two.
Announce the committees.
Yes, so
they need it.
It will be useful to, at this moment, to share the membership of the two task force committees that are instituted by the minister. Like I said, the first task force is the one that's going to investigate on the land transaction in the Tambi wetland, Cape Point, and bypass area. That is the Abuko Joshua. The chairman of that committee is by Master, and the members are Mr. Bolonsonko, Pausman Jaju, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Environment, Inspector General of Police or his representative, Solicitor General or his representative, and Director SIS or his representative. The other task force is the one that is going to investigate the land transaction in various government layouts and reserve lands. And the chairman of that task force is Mr. Kebanjai. Then you have the Inspector General of Police, you have the Solicitor General, you have the Director SIS, Director General SIS, Madam Jenna Banyang, Mr. Yankuba Sonko, Mr. Madi Sise, and Mr. Kemo Kwante. These are the task force members. Thank you.
And the ministry also will have official.
Of course, yeah. In each of the task force, yes, the permanent secretary will be represented.
Yes. Madi, no. Madi is an accountant. Yes. Madi Sise is not Madi. Can you correct that? It's Madi.
Madi
Sise, yeah, he's an accountant.
Yes.
An auditor too, by the extension.
So thank you very much.
Madi Fafa Sise. I think the correct name is Madi Fafa Sise.
Yeah. So this is the end of...
I want the press to wait for me here. Let me go and see this pool and come and join you 2 minutes, if you would allow. I join the committees. Let me do our press, am I right?
Yeah, clearly.
Yes, and then you go to my office, check committee members, so that we can put our house in order quickly and then we move on.
Thank you. So let's pray to conclude.